I think my neighbor is hiding something he should have buried a long time ago. It all started 6 years ago when his daughter vanished. Her name was Emily Carter, only 15. Her face was everywhere. Missing posters, news reports, candlelight vigils. We lived next door, my wife and I trying to comfort them. But after months with no answers, the whole neighborhood just stopped talking about it. The Carters became ghosts. Mr. Carter stopped smiling. His wife looked like she hadn't slept in years. Every summer, he'd still invite us over for a barbecue, pretending everything was fine. But there was something wrong in his eyes, like grief had turned into something darker. Then, last Tuesday night, he came to my door, smiling strangely. He asked if he could borrow a drill, said he needed to fix something in the basement. I handed it to him without thinking, until I noticed he already had one in his other hand. Later that night, I heard it, a faint whirring, then heavy, dull thuds. They came through the wall that separates our houses. It sounded like something being dragged across the floor. Curiosity got the better of me. I looked out the window. His basement light was flickering, shadows moving. Then I saw it, a shape lying still on the concrete floor. I froze. My heart was pounding so loud I thought he'd hear it. And then, Mr. Carter looked up, right at me. The light went out instantly. The next morning, he returned the drill. There was something brown and crusted on the handle. He smiled and said, "You shouldn't stay up so late. Not everything meant to be seen should be seen." That night, I couldn't sleep. At around 2 in the morning, I saw him again, dragging something, a large black bag, toward his truck. I recorded it, I swear I did. But when I checked my phone the next morning, the video was gone. Now, every time I look out my window, I catch him watching back. Curtains slightly open, smile barely visible. Last night, there was something new. A small, freshly poured patch of concrete in his backyard. I haven't told my wife, I haven't told anyone, and I don't know if I should. Because the real reason I can't sleep now is that I just realized that patch of concrete is exactly where Emily's swing set used to be.
I've lived in 3 houses my whole life, 2 with my family, and 1 now completely on my own. Each house holds memories, laughter, arguments, birthdays, moments that blur together over time. But the first house, that one still visits me in my nightmares. It's strange, how you can spend 15 years somewhere and never really know the people who live right next door. We weren't close to our neighbors. We barely even spoke. But there were 2 boys, around my age, who lived with their father. Their names were Ryan and Cole. They never joined the other kids outside. They just watched. Sometimes from their porch, sometimes from their upstairs window. Silent, still, like they were studying everything and everyone. One afternoon, me and my younger brother were out playing basketball in the driveway. The sun was going down and the street was almost empty. That's when Ryan walked over for the first time. He asked if it was true that we were moving soon. I said yes. He nodded slowly, then smiled, a strange, knowing kind of smile. "Before you go, we should hang out. Me, you, my brother, down by the river. We'll shoot BB guns." It didn't sound dangerous. It sounded normal. A last little adventure before moving away. So I agreed. My brother asked to come, and Ryan just said, sure, before walking back home. The next day, just before dusk, they came to our door. Both of them dressed in camouflage, carrying a large duffel bag. I remember thinking how serious they looked, like they were going to war. We didn't tell our parents. We just left. The walk to the woods was quiet. None of us said much. The air felt heavy, like the world was holding its breath. When we reached the river, Ryan dropped the bag onto the dirt and unzipped it. That's when I saw it. Not BB guns, real guns. You guys ever fired one before? Ryan asked. Before I could answer, Cole pulled out a pistol and fired at the trees across the water. The echo ripped through the forest like thunder. My brother jumped back, eyes wide in shock. I grabbed the gun out of his hands before he could touch it. We're done, I said. We're leaving. Ryan stared at me, blank expression. Then he smirked and muttered something under his breath as we walked away. I didn't look back, but I could feel them watching. That night, I couldn't sleep. The sound of that gunshot kept replaying in my head. The look on their faces. The way the woods went silent after the echo faded. Sometime after midnight, I woke up. A cold breeze brushed against my face. My window, it was open. Before I could move, I felt something cold press against the back of my head. A voice whispered, "Don't make a sound." It was Ryan. He'd climbed in through my window. I could feel the metal of the gun against my skull. He whispered, "If you tell anyone, especially my dad, about what happened today, I'll come back and I'll kill you, all of you." I didn't scream, didn't move, didn't even breathe. I just whispered, "Okay." He pushed the gun harder against my head, then slipped out the window and vanished into the night. From that night on, everything changed. Every time I looked outside, I'd see them. In their window, lights off, just shadows watching my room. Sometimes I'd wake up to tapping on the glass. Sometimes I'd hear whispers from the dark outside. My brother said he saw them too. He'd catch them standing in the yard, staring up at his window in the middle of the night. It became a ritual for them, to remind us that they were there, every single night, until the day we finally moved. But the last week was the worst. One night I heard a sharp crack, glass hitting something. A rock slammed against my window. I looked out, and there was Ryan, pointing something at me. A pistol. He smiled, just a little, and raised it higher. I dove for the floor, heart pounding so hard I could barely hear. Then laughter. Loud, cruel laughter echoing through the dark. I heard them call me names, shouting through the dark, mocking, taunting. That was the last night I ever saw them. A few days later, we packed up and left. And we never, ever looked back. But even now, years later, sometimes I still wake up to a cold breeze on my face. Sometimes I'll glance out my window and swear I see two figures in the shadows, standing perfectly still, watching me. Because when someone has watched you once, really watched you, that feeling never leaves. It stays with you. It follows you, even when you move away.
Have you ever wondered what your neighbor is really capable of? Not a burglar, not a killer, but someone far more unpredictable, someone unhinged. I never thought it could happen to me until that night. The night that made me want to leave my house forever. My name's Adam. I'm 24, fresh out of college, finally living on my own. It's not glamorous. I could only afford a cheap place in a bad neighborhood. On my left, loud neighbors who treat every night like a concert. On my right, the creepiest pair of people I've ever met. An older woman, maybe in her 60s, cold and unfriendly. And a younger woman, her daughter, maybe,
with a severe mental disorder. Every day I'd hear screams, strange laughter, banging on the walls. Sometimes I'd see the older woman holding the younger one down while she rocked back and forth mumbling nonsense. I tried to ignore it, but it's hard to ignore madness when it's right next door. One night, I was trying to sleep early for work. Then came the noise again, louder than ever. The younger woman was screaming, throwing things, and the older one was shouting in distress. It went on for nearly an hour before I snapped. I stormed next door and banged on the door. The old woman opened it and snapped, "What the hell do you want?" I asked politely to please keep it down. She just glared, tilting her head down like I had insulted her. Then, suddenly, the younger woman appeared behind her, screaming, "How dare you! How dare you!" The old lady held her back and slammed the door in my face. I walked home in defeat, but at least it finally went quiet. Or so I thought. I woke up at 3 a.m. The night felt too short, like I hadn't slept at all. Then, faintly, I heard something from downstairs. I sat up, listening. Silence. I lay back down, eyes half open. 20 minutes later, I woke up again. Something was breathing in the dark. I fumbled for my phone, hands shaking. I didn't turn the flashlight on right away. I just listened. Then I saw it. A dark, round shape crouched by the edge of my bed. When I finally turned on the light, it was her, the younger woman, her face pale, eyes wide, mouth twisted open. She screamed like a wild animal, and I screamed right back as I stumbled out of bed, tripping over myself to get to the door. I slammed my bedroom door shut and locked it. She was pounding on it, screaming words I couldn't understand. I bolted downstairs and locked the door to the stairway. My hands were trembling as I called the police. By the time they arrived, I could still hear her wailing upstairs. The older woman rushed over, crying, begging the cops to let her go, but they had to take the younger one in for the night. One of the officers asked if I wanted to press charges. Before I could answer, the old woman turned toward me and gave me the most hateful stare I've ever seen. I told them I wouldn't press charges, but her glare didn't change. It only got colder. The police drove her away. 5 minutes later, the older woman got into her car and left too. I thought that was the end. The next morning, when I stepped outside for work, there was a small piece of paper taped to my door. The handwriting was messy, shaky, and it said only 3 words: "How dare you?" Now I'm seriously thinking about moving out. But every night since then, when the house gets quiet, I swear I can still hear that same whisper from the wall next to my bed. How dare you?